Let's talk about cultivating real self-love for a second. Now, when we think of self-love, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Spoiling ourselves, giving ourselves whatever we want, buying anything we want, shopping online. Well, as much as that is all a part of self-love, real, true, deep self-love is cultivating a relationship with yourself first. For example, that relationship you have with your best friend, where you're their confidant, where you don't judge them whenever they mess up. You are always there for them. You always guide them. You always help them emotionally. You're the emotional support system. You know what? That's the kind of relationship you need to have with yourself so that you accept yourself for exactly who it is that you are. Flaws and all, yes, flaws and all, insecurities and all, whatever issues you have and all, knowing that, of course, while you accept yourself for who you are, you're obviously working towards improving yourself, which is great because you love yourself. You want to do that for yourself. Also, you forgive yourself when you make mistakes. You don't judge yourself, you don't hold grudges against yourself, and you don't hold this kind of shame or embarrassment about yourself in your heart where you're like, there's like a ticking thing in your brain where you're like, oh shit, I did that. And no, you don't hold that at all. You let it go because you love yourself. And when you love yourself, you don't do that to yourself. In simple language, it means showing up for yourself emotionally. Yes, taking care of yourself no matter how you look on the outside. Like, you know what? You're not going to judge yourself and you're not going to base your self worth and self respect and self confidence just based on your looks. Like, you're not that shallow. Okay, you know that they add a lot to your personality and they do boost your personality and boost your confidence and self-worth, but they are not where it stems from. The roots are deeper than that. You know your self-worth, you know your value, you know exactly who you are, and you're very grounded in that. That is true and real self-worth. It means getting to know yourself. Like, imagine, okay, you meet a boy and you're like, okay, I think he's cute, I want to get to know him, and then you get to know him. It's the same thing with you. Why aren't you considering yourself cutesy? And you know what? I want to get to know her. You need to get to know yourself. You absolutely need to get to know yourself on that deep core level. Your traumas, your wounds, what makes you you. Like, why do you have these choices? Have you ever been so curious about yourself? Like, I want you to be curious about yourself. How are you going to differentiate between self-love and selfishness? Well, you know what? Let's not confuse the two because there is a very big difference. And the big difference being your intention. Yes, self love comes from a place of nurturing yourself, of valuing yourself, of actually putting yourself up on that pedestal and knowing, you know what, you're worth it. Exactly. Hashtag L'Oreal Paris. But the point is, selfishness is something entirely different. That's when you do things or you hurt somebody else, or you do things on purpose just to hurt somebody else, where, you know what, it's selfish. It's not coming from a good place. You're doing it just solely to benefit yourself and not the other person or whatever the situation might be. But that's not what self-love is. Like, I don't know how people confuse the two, but before people have questions about this, let me just put it out there. That's not what self-love is at all. It's about that relationship that you have with yourself. Okay, selfishness is something entirely different. Please put that to the side. The intention there is to do harm. Basically, self-love is not harm. Self-love is nurturing. It's, like mothering yourself, but in the most beautiful way possible. Your relationship with yourself is the longest relationship you are ever going to be in, and that you're ever going to have. Okay, so everything else and everybody else is secondary. Understand that? So when you do really understand that, you know what? You begin to see yourself like that. You begin to treat yourself like that because you understand that other people's opinions are their opinions and they're entitled to have them. Okay? Which is completely fine because you have your opinions and you're entitled to have them. Again, self love is coming from a place of bettering yourself. Because why wouldn't you? You want to get to places, you want to be where you want to be, you want to be the CEO of a company, you actually want to run a very successful YouTube channel, you want to have a very successful beauty business, you want to do whatever you want to do. So for that, you need self-love. How else are you going to build that self-confidence, build that kind of motivation, that inner motivation within yourself where you're like, I will do whatever it takes to achieve all of my dreams and goals and ambitions is because I deserve it. That's where self-love comes into the picture. And you know what? It's not selfish. It's absolutely not selfish to put yourself first, to put your needs and your wants first. Because you know what? If you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it for you. So you might as well do it for yourself, okay? Nobody's going to put you first as much as you would put yourself first, which is absolutely necessary. You have to, do things for yourself. You have to put yourself out there. You actually have to achieve what you have to achieve in order to get the result that you want, to get the goal that you want, to get the house that you want, to get the car that you want. And you know what? It's great to have ambitions, but it's also similarly very important to cultivate self-love. What are some activities that you could do daily that help in nurturing and cultivating a good and healthy amount of self-love? Well, you know what? It's not that complicated and it doesn't have to be that expensive, okay? These activities could simply be putting yourself first. So putting your needs and your wants first. Now, what do you need? You need a healthy body, you need a healthy mind, you need to be healthy emotionally, you need to be emotionally stable, mentally stable, and you know what? You need to have some sort of spirituality going on because you're a woman. And you know what? It's absolutely necessary to be in touch with our spiritual side because we're so intuitive and we're so guided. And you know what? We have these emotions going through us that are guiding us. They're like guiding forces in our body, which we need to nourish and which we need to recharge and replenish at all times. So you need to take care of all of those things. So you know what? You're going to book yourself that gym class. You're going to go to that gym class. You're going to work out. You're going to meditate. You're going to focus on journaling so that you know what? You become better at emotional regulating and processing. You actually understand yourself a lot more better as to, you know what? Why was I having these thoughts in the first place? You are not going to critique yourself in any which way possible. You're going to change, you're going to flip your self-talk because your self-talk is so important. That's actually the building block of your confidence. Like if you have a negative self-talk, that's exactly what's going to be. Like you are exactly going to be that person who is negative and who hates herself. And you know what? We don't want to be that. That's the complete opposite of self-love. We're not about that on this channel. So you are going to improve your self-talk. You're actually going to be so self-compassionate and empathetic towards yourself. But you know what? You're going to speak to yourself like you're a little child. Would you judge a little child? Would you criticize a little child? Would you actually make them feel bad about their actions unless they've done something really horrible? But if not, would you do that? Or you know what? Would you do that to your best friend? And you need to understand that you are your first best friend, and then that other person comes second. So if you wouldn't do that to anybody else, why do that to yourself? Like just don't put yourself in that stupid position where you know what, you don't even understand what you're worth, you don't even understand your value, you don't understand who you are on the inside, you don't know what you stand for, you don't know what you like, what you don't like, what you're willing to tolerate, what you're not willing to tolerate. Absolutely not. Just build an amazing relationship with yourself because you deserve it. Now, what are you going to do when you find yourself talking negatively to yourself or having these moments of self-doubt? Because everybody's going to have it. You know what? You need to go watch my video about self-sabotage because that's where you will spiral into. So even if you have to spiral, I would suggest spiral upwards. But we're all human beings and we all go through these situations and these emotions. So you're going to catch yourself. You're going to be very self-aware because you know what? Having self-love means you're going to do things consciously, and consciousness builds a lot of self-awareness. So once you're that self-aware, you will catch yourself. You will catch yourself in the nick of time where you're like, whoa, no, I was just about to criticize myself because I couldn't finish that thing on time, or you know what, I shouldn't have said that. You did what you did. It is what it is. You can't go back and change it. So you know what? You might as well learn to adapt to it and learn to deal with it. Like have a positive lookout on it. Be like, you know what? All right, fine. I messed up right now. I apologize, but I might improve later. Like I'll do something about it later on. It doesn't really matter. Don't don't go into that parenting mode where you're like, oh, I have to be strict with myself. I have to do this for myself. Be strict when it comes to discipline. Be strict when it comes to your food. Be strict when it comes to certain things in life, which is very necessary for those certain areas of your life, for your career and all of that. However, understand the fact that you're a human being. Like sometimes people forget that. People think that you're bots or something where you're like, oh, you can't make mistakes. It's going to happen. You're bound to fall apart, you're bound to make mistakes, you're bound to have self-doubt and some sort of negativity somewhere, because sometimes we can't be positive all the time, which is completely fine. I'm not trying to promote toxic positivity. All I'm trying to say is build self-awareness, so whenever you do fall into the trap of being a little negative or a little pessimistic, you are able to pull yourself out of it. And how you're going to do that is you're going to use positive affirmations. Yes, there are a lot of them on the internet, and you're going to use that. You're going to build your self-concept off the charts. Off the charts. And self concept is something basically that you think about yourself. If you think you're the most perfect human being on this planet, that's exactly who you are. Okay. And that's the kind of self concept you really want to have. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Know your worth and stand your ground. Self love also means that you have healthy boundaries and you know when to say no. That means you can walk away from situations that do not serve you in the long run. And you know that, and you know what? You're like, it's okay. You know when to cut your losses. Like, self love is something that'll teach you how to do that perfectly. Because you have that kind of self love within yourself, you can walk away from toxic situations, toxic relationships, toxic friendships, toxic partners, just toxic workplaces. Because you know what? You know what you're worth, you know your value, you understand your worth and value, you know what you stand for, and you're like, this does not align with me at all in any which way, and I am willing to walk away from it. And you will do it with little to no shame or guilt, because you're like, you know what, I know who I am, I'm very grounded in that, and this does not align with me, so I'm willing to walk away, I'm willing to look the other way and walk away, because bye, I ain't dealing with this shit anymore. It takes time. I'm not saying this is going to happen instantly. It will take time to recognize your own patterns and to break your own patterns, which is completely fine. Take your own time, work on yourself, be patient with yourself, take your time, learn a lot more about yourself, understand what is healthy, what is not healthy, look up toxic relationships, toxic patterns, look up your own toxic patterns. Sometimes we're the problem. We have to accept that sometimes we have toxic patterns which we need to heal from, so that we do not attract toxicity into our life, we do not attract negativity into our lives. So once you do that, you're going to set yourself free, and that's going to be the greatest and the biggest form of self-love you could ever do for yourself. Now, how are you going to begin the journey of self-love? If this is something very brand new to you, you've never done this before, it's very simple. The kindness you show onto others, show it to yourself. Be kind to yourself. That's the first step. Just the first baby step you're going to do is you're going to be very kind to yourself. Okay? You're going to acknowledge things about yourself. You're going to understand yourself and be like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. There's always scope and room for improvement. I can do better next time. That's the kind of terminology you're going to use when it comes to yourself. And that's exactly how you're going to cultivate self-love. Don't be too hard on yourself. Sometimes we're very hard on ourselves as women, because sometimes we want to do it all, we want to have it all, which is completely fine, which is possible. First of all, you can have it all and you can do it all. But again, understand you're a human being with hormones. Oh my God. Let's not even talk about the hormones at this point, because what the actual... like, our life is run, like, we're not even in charge, we're not in control of our lives, because it's run by hormones. So I completely get it. It's bound to happen that we crash and we fall and we fail, and you know what, it's okay, because you can get up and you can learn again, you can do the thing again. So instead of being hard on yourself where you're like, oh, why couldn't I achieve that, you know what, that was such an easy thing to do, that was a rookie mistake, whatever it is, let it go. Just let it go. It is what it is. It's fine. There's always room to improve. There's always room for growth. Stop judging yourself and criticizing yourself so much. Now, how are you going to develop self-love without relying on external validation? Well, self-love is breaking away from external validation. Loving yourself despite whatever other people have to say about you, what their opinions look like, who they are, and what they're saying is none of your business. First of all, learn to mind your own business. Actually, this should be the first point of self-love, is learn to mind your own business. Okay, stop looking outwards, go inwards. You have to build a building, for example. You need to dig in deeper. Okay, like the foundation needs to be a lot more stronger, and that's when the building on top, that's you, is going to be, you know what, it's going to be the most beautiful infrastructure you've ever seen. It's because your foundation is so strong. But if your foundation is dicey and dodgy and built on external validation, it's not going to sustain at all. So your first act of self-love should actually be breaking away and breaking free from external validation, because external has nothing to do with you. Validation has nothing to do with you. You need to go internal. Your internal validation is what really matters. If you say it works for you, it works for you. If you say this is who you are, this is who you are, and you stand by it. Let people say what they want to say, let people think what they want to think. It's none of your business. Just calm down. Like, seriously, women, please, women. Okay, this person said that to me. He was rude with people. Are most of the times projecting, or they have their own shit. Like, they have had a bad day and that they actually dumped on you. Like, it wasn't even about you. Sometimes we as women could make things about ourselves, which is kind of crazy, which is because, like, I know we love the idea that people are obsessed with us, but come on, be for real. No, not everybody's thinking about you at all times. Like, you need to get a grip of this too, is that, you know what, people have their own lives going on. Like, they're not constantly thinking about you. You're not the only thing on their mind, even though, with specific people you might be the only thing on their mind, but not with general public, not with general population. So their opinion on your life doesn't really matter. You have to treat yourself like a celebrity. It's a very simple formula. You're going to treat yourself like a celebrity. Would you, like, seriously, imagine a celebrity caring about what other people think about them and what they have to say about them and their outfit and the way they look and the way they do their hair? No, just no, because they're a celebrity. They know their worth. They know their value. You know that, you know what, they know innately that every director wants to work with them. You know what, everybody wants to cast around them. That's the kind of essence you bring into the world. So just by understanding this simple thing, you know what, a lot will change in your life. You're going to engage in self-reflection from time to time, because sometimes we're human beings, okay? We sometimes forget what we've actually achieved up until this point. Imagine that we've achieved so much that, you know what, you need a pat on the back. You need a pat on the back. You need to validate yourself. You need to acknowledge your achievements. You need to stand up and be like, you know what, actually, that's not true. I've done a lot. I've achieved a lot. And you know what? I will continue doing that for myself, by myself. But again, you know what? If you're a young girl and you're watching this is good knowledge to know. It might take some time to get there. Again, this generation is a lot faster. So I wouldn't be surprised if young girls, this, like, in this day and age, are already on this level. But if you're not, it's fine. You will get there. Don't worry about it. Keep practicing it, because self-love is a lifelong journey. It's not a destination. It's really not a destination. I don't know who said that, but you know what? That's something that you have to keep practicing every single day of your life. Believing in yourself and having self-love is a full-time job. It's a full-time job. You can't do it part-time and expect results. It's a full-time job. You have to constantly believe in yourself, constantly love yourself, constantly give all of your time, attention, focus, energy to yourself, constantly keep working on yourself, improving yourself, you know what, educating yourself, valuing yourself, understanding yourself. And again, you know what, we as human beings, we're always evolving. You were a different person 6 months ago and you're a different person now. Nobody is constant. Literally, the only constant thing is change. Change is the only constant thing in our life. So you need to understand that, and you know what, you're gonna make peace with that, because that is going to allow you to sustain a relationship with yourself. Because now you're like, I'm gonna have to get to know myself all over again. My hairstyle, my lifestyle, who I am, your values and your morals could change. Your way of thinking could change. Your mindset could change. You're a completely entirely different person now. You've actually flipped 180. Anything could happen. You always have to be open for it. So that's why self-love is not the destination, honey. It can't be a destination, because you're going to have to get to know yourself all over again. So imagine it being a destination where you're like, this is who I was yesterday and now I don't feel like this today. It's fine. It's about embracing exactly who you are in that present moment of time, which is having your own voice, which is like, you know what, expressing yourself exactly the way you want to express yourself, without letting other people intimidate you, without letting other people hinder you, or, you know what, trying to control you or silence you or whatever it is. You are going to express yourself exactly the way that you want to express yourself, which is completely fine, which is great. Which is actually a very good thing, because you know you love yourself and that's exactly what you deserve. Now you're going to build genuine self-love that's going to sustain you for the rest of your life. So basically, once you do all of these practices on a regular basis and you're very consistent with it, there's going to be an inner voice that's going to reassure you when nobody else is clapping for you. Okay, So, you know what? When you're looking for those praises, when you're looking for those compliments, when nobody gives it to you, you're going to give it to yourself. Because you know what? That's what you need right now. And you were looking for it and you got it. So you're going to give it to yourself, where you're like, oh, good job. I'm proud of you. Or your makeup looks amazing, or your hair looks amazing, or the outfit that you're wearing is amazing, or congratulations on your masters, or congratulations on getting an A plus, or whatever it is that you want to congratulate yourself on because nobody else did that, which again does not matter. So, for that inner voice to develop in your system, you're going to have to keep cultivating self love. You're going to have to keep at it every single day. It's like, you know what? It's very similar to having your dream body. Now, if you want a dream body that looks like Kim Kardashian or Kylie Jenner or Dua Lipa or Zendaya or whoever it is that you admire and you really like, and you want a dream body like them, you're gonna have to keep working at it every single day, right? So the same thing is when it comes to self-love. You're gonna have to keep working at it every single day. And you know what? You're gonna get there. Actually, you're already there. The fact that you're on this journey means you're already there. So all you have to do is continue it and maintain it and just sustain it in the long run. Having said that, we come to the end of this brilliant video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Till then, I'm going to see you guys in my next one. Take care and bye. Money on top of me, money on top of her. Money on top of me, money on top of her. Daddy fuck with me 'cause you know